Hey, it's Chris Brogan bringing you an episode of The Brief. Go to storyleader.design to see what I'm up to right now. But let's turn to what's going on in the world right now. This is a chance for me to show you some news stories that I found kind of interesting. Something about how do we use tech to drive better human interaction and what's this sort of stuff going to mean to us? What sort of trends are forthcoming? Well, CES is in town in Las Vegas, so there's a lot of technology news for consumer electronics. Intel just revealed a foldable laptop concept, according to Business Insider. This thing is interesting because it sort of points to the fact that we're going to have these small-ish units with us that are going to flip up and be open and pay more attention to the being able to consume something in a different format and very more often a vertical format. Intel and somewhat a little less so Dell are hinting at the fact that the days of wide screen letterbox strictly because we want to watch videos is coming to a change point where it might not just be letterbox style. So that's worth checking out. There's another reason why this is interesting. If this is something new that's being brought out to the public, it's pointing towards part of a trend. And where that trend is going is sort of interesting. Oh, I was in the wrong spot. There it is. Amazon. Amazon is adding more stuff to Alexa and Echo in cars. And what they're doing is they're making it so you can actually start to soon, I think Exxon is the first partner, order gas at the pump with these new devices. So you could say, Alexa in your car, Alexa, put $30 of unleaded in my car. And it'll know what to do with that. This is rising towards a trend that someone has called the passenger economy. I forget where I read it. I guess if we Google it, we'd find it fast enough. But the passenger economy is all aiming towards this concept where because we're going to be driven around in self-driving cars, because we're going to be a lot more often possibly sharing cars, ride share, those sorts of things, Lyft and beyond, that there may now be coming a concept called passenger economy. How do we entertain these people? How do we keep them interested in what's going on? Because now they don't have to pay attention to the road. To that point, and sort of related in an interesting way, Hyundai says that they've partnered with Uber to start designing the flying cars for Uber's air taxi service. So that again comes out of CES in Las Vegas. This is an article from the New York Times talking about it. And there's some legs to it. The idea that we may or may not be flying around in cars is a lot more recent and possible these days than it has been ever before in the history of doing that sort of thing. So that is most definitely worth paying attention to. Furthermore, there's a bit of knowledge for you to pay attention to. It looks like the nice folks at Disney Plus have just randomly pulled a bunch of their stuff off of Disney Plus without talking much about it. What makes this interesting is that a lot of people are starting to shift over from having actual cable service to paying for internet service and then buying Disney Plus and Netflix and Hulu and Amazon, and for some people Apple TV as well. So this is an article that just came out from Digital Trends talking about all of the various TV shows and movies that have been pulled off of Disney Plus out of the blue. Some of them included Home Alone, Home Alone 2, but oddly not Home Alone 3, because I didn't even know there was one, Pirates of the Caribbean, On Stranger Tides, and also, let's see, The Sandlot and The Wonderful World of Disney, Magical Hollywood Celebration, and of course, The Shaggy Dog, the one with Tim Allen, not the good one. All right. Let's see, what else do I have for you? Oh, this is interesting, and this is from Thought Catalog. Samsung has released a new toy at CES that might turn into something more called Ballie. At first glance, this thing is essentially like a little tennis ball that follows you around. And at present, that is all this device can do. However, it is rumored to be tying into smart speakers, so you can order it around the way you order Alexa around. It can also possibly start doing things like handling pet chores, so it'll check the water dish and make sure the pet does or doesn't need water and report on that to you. It can decide to dispense food with a food dispenser system for pets as well. It could do things like change the blinds. It can also act as sort of a medic alert and be a companion to seniors or people in their home that are dealing with different physical ability challenges. So that's something worth paying attention to. So you look at it now and it's just a ball that follows you around. But the idea that computing is following you and part of your world now is definitely something to talk about. In that same vein, by the way, Delta has a parallel reality display. I found this at Fast Company. What this parallel reality is saying is that screens very soon will, for instance, at an airport, show me my flight information. And if you're standing beside me, it'll show you your flight information on the same screen without any particular technology. How it works is kind of tricky. You got to check out this Fast Company article. It says Delta's parallel reality display sounds like sci-fi, but it's coming soon. And it looks like that is a possibility. Definitely worth checking out. Another big trend at CES 2020 is you've heard for a while about the Internet of Things, IoT. Well, there's a new language around it called intelligence of things instead of the big thing being internet, because that's just a connectivity format. The intelligence of things. So, for instance, Arduino, which is installed in a lot of different boards, a lot of different technology to give it these IoT types of offerings, is now getting a little bit more pro, they're saying, at CES, according to this at the Arduino blog. But more so, there's just more stuff coming out to cover that space. And so the intelligence of things space will continue to grow. And this goes with computing coming to us instead of being far from us. That's why things like laptops are going to matter less. That's why things like even our mobile device, as we have a world where we can shout out Alexa or Hey Google or whatever, sorry, Google, we can see that there's going to be a lot. No, it's all good, Bubby. There's a lot more opportunity for things to change for us. So we've got a lot there. And one last one, this is just in games. I read a stat that I would put into an article where the game industry worldwide revenue for 2019 was, well, first, do you know what the worldwide movie revenue was? Worldwide movie revenue for 2019 was just a little bit over $40 billion. Games was 120 billion, so 3 times as much. 65 billion of that was in mobile games. Mobile games are taking over the world. So if you grew up in the 80s and you loved G.I. Joe, you should know that G.I. Joe World of Cobra has launched. I just brought that up because I wanted a real good reason to have a transition to this story about mobile games. But it's definitely worth checking out. And I think that what's important for you to pull from that story is just that games are no longer just a kid's business, and it's definitely worth us checking out and paying more attention to. So hopefully this was interesting. Welcome to The Brief. I'm Chris Brogan. More next time.